Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to talk about pretty much how much of an idiot I am. We're going to be talking about all the mistakes that I made when it came to building or putting together my 4-valve swap 2003 Mustang GT. Let's get into today's video. Okay, so pretty much let's start from the beginning. The beginning was we had the 2003 Mercury Marauder on the channel. We built the tranny, we put a turbo on it, we had the SCT X4 tuner on it, we did all that stuff, but unfortunately we had Hurricane Dorian, and after getting a few good races out of that Marauder, it went underwater and I just lost all care for the car after that. I decided to pull the engine and salvage as much as I could from it, so pulled that engine out, and I guess I should have known from the start, but we had a bent rod because I started that motor with water in it. We had one bent rod, so I built an entire car around it. That was the green 2000 Mustang that I had. I built an entire car around a motor that had a bent rod, so the minute I started to put pressure on the motor, that's when I realized that we had some issues with this thing. So I tore that motor apart, I found the bent rod, and I mean, this rod is as bent as a rod could get. So I was like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna buy one rod, one piston, all the bearings, oil pump, and I should have done that, but being lazy and just not having as much knowledge as the time, I decided to import a motor instead of fixing the current motor that I had. Is this not a perfect time for me to tell you guys to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and hit that like button, please? It really does mean a lot. Also, if you guys want to help with the builds on this channel, make sure to go in the description below and check out my PayPal link. Send me anything, guys. Anything helps and everything helps. Let's continue with the video. Alright, so like I was saying, just not wanting to deal with the bottom end of that 2003 Mercury Marauder's motor, I imported a 1994 Lincoln Mark 8 motor, and it had 200,000 miles on it. Okay, so I received the motor. I was so happy to get this motor in that all I did was pretty much clean up everything around it, check for oil leaks. I sealed up what needed to be sealed. I transferred over what I needed from the old motor to this motor, and I just slapped it in the car. Now, the Marauder had C heads, the Lincoln Mark 8 motor had B heads, and I swapped it in, and which means I had to use the Lincoln Mark 8 manifold and pretty much everything that goes with the intake, like the throttle body was in the back, all of that stuff. So I had to pretty much use the complete setup out of the 94 Lincoln Mark 8 and try to make that work as best as possible. And I ran into a few issues, and I thought that these issues were issues that I was having before, which made my Marauder motor run bad. But like I said, I had a bent rod, and that's what was making that motor run so funny. I actually ran into alternator issues because these alternators are computer controlled on the Marauder, and it's not computer controlled on the Mustang. So I had to figure out a way to wire that up. I had fuel pressure issues where I was getting the right fuel pressure reading, but the minute I stepped on the gas, it would drop to zero. So fuel delivery was an issue. I had to change my fuel filter. I had to change my fuel pressure regulator. I had to change a lot of things to get this thing running kind of right. Then I had a bad vibration in the car, which was just a loose drive shaft, and I was going through a lot of things when it came to swapping in that 94 Lincoln Mark 8 motor. So I was running into a lot of issues doing that Lincoln Mark 8 swap, and I think I got it as best as I possibly can, and then I just decided to pull the motor from there. As you guys may already know, I tore the motor down, took those B heads off that 94 Lincoln Mark 8 motor, and I checked the ring gap, and this is the thing that has been burning my brain ever since then. When I actually put that motor back together, I was scratching my head trying to figure out, where did I go wrong? What is messed up in this motor? Why can't I get this thing running right? And I sat down there for weeks, and I didn't touch the car, and I just was thinking about it. This thing was eating me up. I was like, which part of this did I get wrong? And then I Googled the proper ring gap, And it's not that I didn't Google the proper ring gap at the time. I did. I just thought that the excessiveness of my ring gap would have helped with boost when I went to put the turbo on it. So all of my rings, all of my piston rings, which the spec for them are anywhere from 0.00, well actually it's 0.0018 to 0.0023. That's the spec. That's what my ring gap is supposed to be from factory. All of my ring gaps on all 8 cylinders were 0.0036 to 0.0056. So this was a 200,000 mile motor that I bought from eBay, and I knew nothing about. The first thing that I should have done when I got that thing from eBay was compression tested to see what the state of the motor was, because I could have just torn the thing down one shot without ever putting it in the car and change those ring gaps. But you kind of live and learn when it comes to these kind of things. Now onto the game plan for what we have for this motor now. In the next few videos I am going to be pulling that motor again. I doubt I'm going to record that. I've recorded pulling that motor like a bajillion times, so I'm not going to waste my time doing that. You guys have seen that. I've made countless videos pulling it before. You guys can go watch those old videos to check that out. But we are going to get this thing on the stand, and the plan for this motor is to make sure we have good compression long before we ever put it back in the vehicle. Now the way I'm going to do this is we're going to pull those heads, we're going to do a leak down test to make sure none of those valves are leaking compression. Now what we do is, obviously compression is built on a compression stroke, and those valves have to be, I believe, closed to build this compression. So we're gonna fill fluid, put fluid into the ports and look underneath to see if any of those valves are leaking. If they are, we need to check the valve and check the seal and check the spring to make sure that we get good sealing with the valve to the head. We're also going to be changing out main cap bearings, which is the crank bearings, and we're also going to be changing rod cap bearings. Okay, so with the crankshaft and the connecting rod bearings being changed, we're also going to be changing the oil pump, and we're most likely going to be replacing the head gasket, because I think those are only one-time use. So we're going to throw those away, put on a fresh set of gaskets. I already had those heads over to the head shop getting those valve seals changed out. But if it comes back that the leak down test and one of those valve seals are leaking, we're just going to have those shipped back out to the head guy and have them replaced. But I'm just going to take those off, make sure that they're flat using a angle iron, and slap those bad boys right back on. They even haven't had pretty much any runtime on that vehicle. But yeah, that is the plan. We're going to do our best to get some compression, the right compression numbers in that motor long before we even put that back in the car. And how I'm going to do this is I have an old T45 transmission that I'm going to bolt up to it. I'm going to put the starter on it, and we're going to use that to spin it over right on the ground, and we're going to test to make sure this thing has compression, good compression, long before we put it back in the vehicle. I think this was definitely the #1 mistake I made when it came to putting this vehicle together. I did not compression test this motor, and yes, that's a very rookie mistake, but this is why I'm making this video, so you guys can benefit from my failures or my mistakes, and you don't have to go through them. So anytime you order a motor from eBay, or you pick up a motor from a junkyard, or you're doing anything where you're getting a motor that you are not sure of, that this did not come, you didn't watch them pull this out of a running vehicle that you got to test drive, yeah, you want to compression test your motors, guys. So alright guys, so let's recap real quickly. I made a lot of mistakes with this motor. I did not check the first Marauder motor to find out what the bottom end looked like. We had one bent rod, we had alternator issues, we had fuel pressure issues, and now as of late we have compression issues. We had compression issues from the very start, but I just did not know that we had those issues, and now that I do, we're gonna get this thing right. We're gonna go through a quick refresh of this motor. All the bearings are gonna be changed, oil pump is gonna be changed, we're gonna change those head gaskets, we're gonna do a leak down test on the head, and we're gonna change those piston rings, and we're gonna make sure this thing is firing on all 8 cylinders before even putting it back in the vehicle. And guys, you don't want to miss the next few videos, because I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do this yourselves. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Always remember, don't drift without your dreams. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.